Brother-in-law's fiancée hijacked our engagement night, denied my husband's best man role, and now tries to erase me from family life completely. My husband, John, and I got married last year, and ever since, there's been tension with my soon-to-be sister-in-law, Danelle. Here's the backstory. Last Christmas, Danelle and Connor, John's brother, got engaged but waited until New Year's Eve to announce it. I thought it was odd to hold off, but I was happy for them and excited to help with anything she might need. I really thought we were becoming friends. Fast forward to New Year's Eve, and I find out that John had told his parents he wanted to propose to me that night. Apparently, his parents shared that with Connor and Danelle, who then decided to use the same occasion for their engagement announcement instead. When I found out, I was hurt, but I tried to let it go. John proposed a few months later, and we decided to elope on a beautiful mountaintop. I've never wanted a big wedding, I don't have a great relationship with my father, and we didn't want to step on Connor and Danelle's toes since their wedding was coming up. We even asked them if it would bother them if we got married before them, and they said it was completely fine, as there was almost over a year before theirs. Here's where things started getting weird. Danelle never congratulated me on our engagement, and she's been distant ever since she got engaged. She didn't want help with any wedding planning and didn't include me or our other sister-in-law, John and Connor's sister, in anything. My husband is Connor's best man, but Danelle doesn't want him to give a speech or throw a bachelor party, even though she's going on a destination bachelorette trip. To make things worse, she's been bullying me online. She knows I've been struggling with postpartum depression and the loss of my grandmother, and after I went no contact with her she started mailing things to our house only addressed to John and our kids, seemingly purposely leaving me off. Most recently, she told my mother-in-law that my oldest son would be their ring bearer. She never discussed this with me and even previously told me she didn't want kids in the wedding because she thought it would be too much for me. At this point, I'm wondering if this all stems from me and John getting married before them. Am I the asshole for not waiting longer, or is there something else going on here? Update 1. So, my husband John, his brother Connor, their grandfather, and father were supposed to meet up to pay for the suits for the wedding. It was also supposed to be a chance for the guys to talk without me or Danelle, my soon-to-be Sil, around. But Connor just didn't show up. No call, no text, nothing. To top it off, the suits ended up being double the original price. Aggravating, but at this point, what can you do? As for my Mill, even though I've already told her I'm not going to Danelle's bridal shower because of how I've been treated, she's now trying to guilt me into going by asking me to bring great-grandma to the shower. My other sister-in-law is also being left out. Mill just texted her the dates she needs to request off for the wedding, which is on a holiday, without asking if she could even make it. Any of her questions about what to wear or other details have been completely ignored. And the kicker? My other Sil just took her Christmas tree down this week, and guess what she found? Danelle had hidden an ornament on the tree that was clearly meant as a dig at both of us. I'm sure more drama is coming as the wedding gets closer, but I'm just over it at this point. Update 2. So as you know, I've been dealing with some serious drama surrounding my soon-to-be sister-in-law, Danelle, and her wedding. A little background, Danelle and I were very close for about 4 years. We'd hang out regularly, dinner, movies, even deep conversations. I really considered her a good friend. When she and Connor, my husband's brother, got engaged, I was excited and eager to support her however I could. I was never expecting to be in the bridal party, but I wanted to help with anything else she needed. After Danelle got engaged, however, things changed. When John and I got engaged a few months later, I was completely ignored by Danelle. She didn't congratulate me, and I wasn't included in any wedding planning. Then, John, who's Connor's best man, was told he wouldn't be giving a speech or planning the bachelor party. Danelle was planning a destination bachelorette trip, but she didn't want my husband involved in anything related to her wedding. It felt like she was excluding us at every turn. The situation only got worse when Danelle started bullying me online. I had already been struggling with postpartum depression and grieving the loss of my grandmother, and the constant passive-aggressive comments from her were really taking a toll. After I decided to go no contact with her, Danelle took to sending things addressed only to John and our kids, pointedly leaving me out. Then, Danelle told my Mill that my oldest son would be the ring bearer, without ever discussing it with me. This is after she'd told me she didn't want kids in the wedding because it would be too much for me. It felt like she was going out of her way to be dismissive and disrespectful. Meanwhile, my other sister-in-law, Kay, was being treated just as poorly. She was told, not asked, to take off time for the wedding, and all her questions about attire or wedding details were completely ignored. Kay even found an ornament on her Christmas tree that Danelle had hidden there, clearly meant as a dig at both of us. After that, Kay and I had planned to take the kids out for a day trip during the wedding to avoid the drama, but when I confirmed that my kids wouldn't be in the wedding, Danelle suddenly told Kay that she'd be the keeper of the rings, so the plan was cancelled. After pressure from her parents. Here's where things got even more frustrating. My father-in-law came over to our house and tried to guilt us into bringing the kids to the wedding. Even though we had made it clear that we weren't going to be involved in the wedding like that, he wouldn't take no for an answer. My husband, John, finally had to shut him down and told him outright to stop kissing Danelle's ass. Honestly, I was proud of him for standing up for me, but it just made me realize how deep this whole thing goes. Throughout all of this, we've been begging for basic wedding information, especially after being left out of planning and communication. We asked multiple times for things like the dress code, wedding schedule, and other details, and the response was always a shrug. At one point, John had to ask for the wedding address, times, speech expectations, and other logistical details because, we just weren't given any of that. It was getting absurd. I couldn't even buy a dress for the occasion because less than a month I still didn't know the attire. Now finally I was able to order it and it will be here 4 days before the wedding, so fingers crossed it fits then. Again, with the wedding now less than a month away, John was expected to throw together a bachelor party at the last minute, and, on top of that, he was also supposed to write a best man speech for a brother he barely knows and a woman he can't stand. The emotional labor being dumped on him is honestly ridiculous. So, we've decided that we'll go to the wedding, but there's a condition. John has promised that if we attend, we will go no contact with his family until New Year's, and then we'll reevaluate. I'm pregnant with baby number 3 right now, and after experiencing a miscarriage during Thanksgiving, I just can't deal with all this stress anymore. I'm emotionally drained and trying to protect my peace for the sake of my family. Update 3. Well, it's official. My husband and I didn't attend the reception. He decided to not be in the wedding photos, and we are now no contact with his family. I promised an update, so here it is. Let me back up. Weeks went by with no invitation. I finally got a 1/3 of an invitation, no envelope, no details. It wasn't even addressed to me. It was slipped to John weeks after everyone else had received theirs. No RSVP card, no formal invite. And when we asked about it, we were told we should have known the details because it's tradition. But apparently tradition didn't include me, despite the fact that it is tradition to send an invitation to the best man's wife. Things started really unraveling at the rehearsal. They called for all family and bridal party to go into another room to practice a special entrance into the church. I wasn't going to go, but I was ushered in by Phil and Connor. Once inside, it became obvious that every immediate family member was involved in this special entrance and had reserved seating, everyone except me. They lined people up for their entrance and then just left me in an empty room. I could hear everyone laughing and talking in the next room while a woman stood at the door to keep people from going back in. I wasn't even allowed to rejoin the group. I cried in the bathroom, tried to pull myself together several times, and finally just sat by the car until everyone came out. Kay dropped out last minute, for her own reasons, but let's just say she wasn't treated any better. Then came the wedding day. I brought our oldest son with me because our youngest was sick with a fever, and it would have been too much to ask my mom to watch both. When we arrived, my Mill came around greeting guests, smiling and chatting, but walked right past me and our son without saying a word. It was humiliating. And then came the final blow, the family photo list. Turns out, I wasn't on it. Not me, not my son. My husband had to ask if I was supposed to be included. After a pause and some awkward glances, they said I could be, as if it were a favor. I declined. I wasn't going to beg to be in photos with a family that had gone out of their way to make me feel like a stranger. That was what finally made it clear for my husband. He saw it. Really saw it. The exclusion wasn't just in my head. It wasn't accidental. It was repeated, deliberate, and pointed. The photo list sealed it for him. He made the call to go no contact. Not just me, him too. We didn't go to the reception, and we won't be spending another holiday, text thread, or minute playing pretend with people who made it so obvious we aren't welcome. There's so much more I could say, but I'll end with this. If you don't want someone at your wedding, don't invite them. But don't half invite them and then exclude them every step of the way while pretending they're crazy. I was never part of this plan, and honestly, I think they thought I wouldn't notice. But I did. Update 4. I never used to believe the cliché that weddings bring out the worst in people. But this family managed to squeeze venom out of every single napkin fold, name card, and group email well past the worst. If you're still following, buckle up. Even after my husband and I announced no contact, the drama didn't just simmer, it boiled over. Nothing like a family fallout to show you who people really are. The official no contact lasted all of 4 days. On the 5th, Mill left 8 voicemails for my husband. The first was cheerful, as if nothing had happened and she was just rehashing details from the wedding. Didn't Danelle look radiant? The following 7 started unspooling, her tone hardening, threatening to expose us to the extended family if we didn't stop sowing discord. She said, "Family comes first. Unless you want to be the reason we're not allowed to see our grandsons, you'll call us back." We haven't. Pick your jaw up. 2 days later, Mill dropped off a literal envelope of physical photos at our front porch, just shots of John's cousins, aunts, uncles, Connor and Danelle, all laughing, close-ups of group hugs and the dance floor. None of John, none of me, none of our son. Just in case there was any ambiguity left about who counts. Days went quiet. I thought maybe they'd finally gotten the message. A package arrived addressed to John and our kids, again not me. Inside was a family board game, the box labeled for family game night. With a post-it stuck to the cover, "From your favorite aunt and uncle. Love, Danelle, and Connor." Tucked in were matching t-shirts sized for our boys that read Ring Security and Team Groom, which is rich, because our oldest was never actually allowed to participate in the wedding. Petty? Maybe. Clear? Absolutely. Then things took the next turn bonkers. 3 days after the family game, Kay reached out to us, and I drove over to her place. She'd gotten her own envelope that morning from Danelle. This one held a handwritten note: "Hope you finally have your priorities straight. See you next Christmas." Or not, D. But here's the kicker. Enclosed was Kay's childhood necklace, a family locket that had gone missing at the rehearsal, tucked inside a Ziploc like evidence. Kay's hand shook as she read the note. "She stole this, didn't she?" she asked me. I couldn't answer. My husband, though reeling, stayed out of most of it until the baby drama. 2 weeks after the wedding, I was admitted to the hospital for dehydration, hyperemesis, in case you think pregnancy gets easier every time. I put up a quick Facebook update on a private account: "Appreciate good vibes, in hospital for fluids, baby is okay." Within 6 hours, concerned relatives started texting John. It was clear, someone had screenshot my status and shot it through the family group chat I'm no longer in. Mill texted, asking pointedly if I was doing this for attention or if I was really sick. She offered to watch her grandson so John could focus on me, not us, just him. That was the moment John set boundaries with locked precision. He changed his number, deleted the family threads, and blocked Danelle, Connor, and his parents on every platform. The fallout has been nuclear. Danelle took to Instagram, posting a public apology to anyone who was hurt by recent events while tagging literally everyone in her wedding except us. She even tagged Kay's dog. She included a quote: "The only thing toxic people hate more than being called out is being cut out," with a carousel of wedding photos from which I am artfully, rigorously absent. There are group shots where an uncannily blank space marks where my husband and son should be. Here's the wildest twist yet. While sorting through our mail last Thursday, John opened what he thought was junk mail. It was a notice of small claims hearing. At first, we both lost our minds. What possible grounds could there be? Turns out, Danelle had filed to recoup the cost of John's custom tuxedo, claiming as damages that he'd breached agreement to serve as best man and participate fully as contracted. No, I am not making this up. The filing included not only the cost for the tux but also estimated loss of emotional labor, reception place cards, and, wait for it, non-refundable deposit for rehearsal dinner chair covers. She itemized chair covers and put emotional loss at $250. We laughed. And then we cried. And then we got a lawyer. Meanwhile, Kay and several cousins have started quietly reaching out, wanting to meet for coffee, bring over groceries, or just check in. The phrase "we're sorry, we see it now" has come up more than once. Apparently, Danelle's post-wedding smugness and public drama snapped a few of them out of complicity. One cousin said, "She made it impossible not to notice you were missing. She didn't win, you just left the game." That gave me the first actual relief I've felt in a year. Here's what's really new: John and I have started our own family rituals. Movie nights. Special breakfast Saturdays. A digital photo album just for the 4, soon to be 5, of us. Kay drops by almost daily, and sometimes she brings other family deserters, even John's usually reserved uncle, who never liked drama but confessed, "I'm sorry I didn't see it sooner." We're building something completely apart from the theatrics. We're learning that chosen family sometimes isn't just a trope, it's real, it's slow, and it feels like oxygen after months of poison. The small claims court date is in 3 weeks. We're ready. The letter from our lawyer is almost comically polite. "While my clients regret not modeling napkin folding to your exacting standards, they are not responsible for damages arising from speculative emotional labor, nor are they answerable for chair covers." We had to ask the lawyer to add the chair cover bit. Sometimes you just need a laugh. More than anything, we're relieved. For the first time, it feels like the worst of the storm has passed. The people left on our side matter far more than the ones we've left behind. So, that's the latest. Danelle has declared legal war over tuxes and chair covers. Mill is on day 5 of radio silence after her last barrage, but Kay wears her necklace every day and our boys think family game night means the 4 of us. I know the saga probably isn't over, but this chapter is winding down how every other outrage should, with boundaries, laughter, and our own little patch of peace. Update 5. The first court date was scheduled for a Tuesday morning, and we arrived early per our lawyer's advice, folders in hand, wearing the expressions of people who still can't believe wedding chair covers brought them to this point. Our lawyer looked apologetic as he went over Danelle's latest update to her claim. She'd added distress to wedding harmony, "Not even kidding," those were the words, and included an actual invoice for $150 for mood lighting synchronization that had to be reprogrammed last minute due to John's failure to participate in the entrance. There was a color-coded breakdown of the emotional strain she'd suffered, complete with pie charts. The hearing itself was a surrealist painting masquerading as a legal event. Danelle arrived dressed in all white. Yes, to small claims court. Connor trailed behind, looking ready to crawl inside his own suit pocket. Danelle did her own cross-examination during her statement. She apparently didn't trust her own lawyer to be emotionally precise enough. Midway, she burst into tears describing the gaping spiritual void that was left on the dance floor and the silent hurt of an empty chair at the head table, all because John wouldn't wear the tux. The judge gave our side exactly the look you'd imagine. When it was our lawyer's turn, she pulled out the receipts, screenshots where John had explained his refusal to participate, messages showing we'd never gotten details or clear answers, photos of us not being included, and, for flair, the Venmo request Danelle sent John on the wedding day, $186.47, memo line, for your share of the wedding absence. Watching the judge's expression morph from confused to deadpan amused was worth almost every ounce of stress from the last year. Case dismissed. All of it. The judge gently suggested that family disputes are better handled outside courtrooms, especially when they concern decorative linens. Danelle tried to interrupt. Didn't work. She then stormed out, loudly announcing to the truly mystified waiting room that forgiveness is a path only the righteous can walk. Connor followed, staring at his phone, possibly considering a new identity. We emerged victorious, but the fallout? Spectacular. An hour after the hearing, my phone started pinging. Danelle had posted a 30-slide court story time to her Instagram, filled with blurry courthouse selfies, a testimony about betrayal by blood, and screenshots with redacted. In giant red letters, nothing was redacted. Half of John's extended family got tagged again, except us, and, inexplicably, Danelle's old high school orchestra teacher. But what actually hit us hardest weren't the digital theatrics, it was the wave of reckoning that hit the family, hard, and in a way even Danelle couldn't script. Within days, 2 cousins and John's uncle, previous silent bystanders, each reached out. The oldest cousin, Mark, called, voice shaking, to apologize flat out for letting everything snowball. "You know, she's been like this forever," he told John. "None of us wanted to be next on her list." Kay texted me a photo. She finally, publicly, unfollowed Danelle, an act more profound than it sounds, given Danelle's obsession with tallying her own follower count. Kay's parents, once determined let's keep the peace types, invited us and the kids over for a barbecue, just us, no drama, pinky swear. And something shifted. For the first time, John's dad called him. No, not to apologize, let's not get wild, but to check on our son post-hospital stay and say, for the first time, we miss you guys. Let's talk, if you want, no Danelle. That's all it was, but it was huge. We haven't decided what to do yet, boundaries still stand, but it's a glimmer that maybe, just maybe, the family iceberg is thawing. Meanwhile, Kay's necklace drama took a turn. She learned from an aunt, who saw Danelle gloating at the rehearsal, that Danelle had taken the locket and was threatening to return it if Kay learned her lesson. Kay took that information and, fueled by a rare dose of family backbone, sent Danelle a legal cease and desist letter, over her own childhood jewelry. Within a week, a package arrived for Kay, no note this time, just the locket, tangled and cheapened, but back, in our own home, things somehow started to bloom amid the wreckage. Kay came over for every movie night, cousins dropped off banana bread and flowers, and my husband started picking up the phone to friends and family for the first time in ages. Our eldest, who'd been asking why family was weird now, started drawing pictures of the happy house, usually 4 of us and Kay, plus a dog he's convinced we'll someday adopt. But don't worry, the Danelle drama had one last gasp. A mysterious, utterly bizarre anonymous delivery arrived, one of those custom cakes you can order by text. I opened it, jaw slack. It was frosted in blue and gold, piped in elegant script with, "Sorry you couldn't handle chair covers." I laughed so hard I cried. Then I offered Kay the biggest slice. If you're waiting for some cosmic justice, here it is. Word reached us, because, you know, small towns, that Danelle tried to host an unapology dinner for the family to heal and process negative energy, and literally nobody showed up but Connor and her high school orchestra teacher, who apparently just wanted the free food. Last night, as the 5 of us danced in our living room to the wedding playlist John made, Kay led the kids in a victory conga and declared it chair cover Independence Day. I finally feel like we're not just rebounding, we're building. My pregnancy is progressing, our family is laughing again, and we've gotten very good at blocking Danelle's numbers. I used to think family was about blood, tradition, and showing up for all the milestones. But sometimes family is the people you eat revenge cake with, who call out your real name, who see every slight and choose you anyway. If weddings bring out the worst in people, maybe the aftermath brings out the very best, in the ones smart enough to make their own peace, and throw out the chair covers for good. Update 6. Within days of our chair cover Independence Day, the Danelle fallout ricocheted beyond social media. Somehow, her betrayal by blood saga reached the town Facebook group, not via us, but courtesy of Danelle's own mother, who posted a breathless recap complete with the damning line, "We left the door open, but some people just want to burn down the house." Commenters assumed she meant literal arson. A neighbor offered her a spare garden hose, but it had the unexpected side effect of making even the neutral relatives look up from their potato salads and start texting us. Mark's wife brought over home-baked scones and softly said, "We always wondered what she'd do if someone called her bluff." Our mailbox overflowed with thinking of you cards from people who never wanted to pick sides, until now. And then came the apology parade. Not from Danelle, that would require a human soul, but John's aunt, with whom he hadn't exchanged a real sentence in years, drove over. She apologized on the sidewalk, pressed homemade soup into my hands, and said she'd spent months pretending she didn't see the cruelty because that's what family does. Kay, standing in the doorway, just muttered, "Not anymore." Meanwhile, Danelle and Connor appeared to be living their own reality show. After her unapology dinner debacle, yes, the orchestra teacher did leave a Yelp review, "Excellent spinach dip," Confusing vibes. Danelle doubled down with a series of cryptic TikToks in which she reconstructed the reception seating chart with missing faces, then ate a single chair-shaped cupcake in silence while viewers, mostly teenagers, commented, "Free the chair covers." One of Connor's friends, who'd sat next to me in calculus a million years ago, texted, "Has she considered Dungeons and Dragons? All that drama and no real-world consequences." I snorted hard enough to startle the baby, but if her intent was to make us pariahs, it backfired. Kay became an avenging angel, organizing impromptu family picnics and carefully inviting only the safe crowd. John's cousins brought their kids, the noise, the laughter, the total lack of backstabbing. It felt like a reclaimed holiday. My oldest made Kay a best aunt crown out of tinfoil and refused to take it off. In the middle of all this healing, my phone rang one afternoon. It was John's dad, this time, with my name at the front of his greeting. "I don't know if I ever saw it," he said, quietly. "It wasn't right, leaving you out." He confessed, in his halting way, that he and Mill had been at odds since the wedding. She'd begun organizing grandsons-only brunches, her way of trying to get her family back in line, and each time, more people declined the invite. I don't know how to stop her," he admitted. "But I don't want to lose you, too." He asked if we'd meet, just him, just for pie. I said yes, on 3 conditions: no wedding talk, no guilt, and Kay gets half the pie. He laughed. Deal. Kay, for her part, was blooming. After retrieving her locket, "Thank you, cease and desist," she posted a photo, the locket open, with a plain piece of paper inside, on which she'd written, "Not for Danelle." The post racked up more likes than all of Danelle's chair rants combined. Some people just find peace louder than grief. But don't worry, Danelle wasn't finished. The week before my due date, a certified letter arrived, an invitation to attend her post-marital healing circle in the church basement. It came with a checklist: please bring a written list of your regrets, 3 family photos to burn symbolically, and if possible, fresh rosemary. I nearly went into labor laughing. John's reply, per my request, "Please remove us from your prayer chain. Kay will keep the rosemary." Meanwhile, John and I officially cleared out a closet and set up shelves for our chosen family emergency snacks, treats meant only for the drop-ins who'd stood by us. There was a bottle of wine labeled Court Victory, cookies for unexpected small claims, and a bag of rosemary-flavored chips that Kay promised would ward off church basement drama. The day our daughter was born, it was Kay, no drama, just steady Kay, who watched the boys and left a bouquet of welcome to the world, wildflowers by my hospital bed. My phone vibrated with texts, but not from Mill or Danelle. Instead, it was from cousins, friends, my own parents, and even John's dad. "We're so happy for you. No caveats, no demands. Just love." 2 weeks later, John's dad quietly asked if he could meet his granddaughter. We said yes. Pie was shared, and nobody mentioned chair covers or wedding harmony or even the court case. He just held her, eyes wet, saying softly, "I missed enough. Postpartum this time feels light." Maybe it's the contrast, maybe it's the company. Kay comes over every Saturday, still wears her locket, and tells my daughter epic non-Danelle bedtime stories. John's uncle now refers to me as family, no asterisks. And the Sunday dinners? They're getting bigger: chosen family, old friends, the defectors, all of us eating, laughing, and sometimes groaning at Kay's relentless rosemary jokes. Danelle? She's still out there, posting cryptic TikToks about forgiveness rituals and toxic energy extraction. The family mostly scrolls by. As for us, I once thought the aftermath would be rubble, but it's turned green. The kids have started calling Kay's new rescue dog Chairman. Our daughter's middle name is Hope. Family isn't blood, or chairs, or forced apologies served with spinach dip. It's the friends who keep showing up, the boundary setters, the pie sharers, the ones who watch the baby so you can exhale in the garden. It's living, unburdened, as your whole self.